Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you. Carl Falk joining us. Tariq Spence taking, I believe, is the first day he's taken off since we started doing the show this way due to the pandemic. So, Carl, welcome in for Tariq, and Tariq's got a well-earned vacation. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, thank you. I got huge shoes to fill, obviously. I don't think I can carry Tariq's, lunch, so I'll just do the best I can, and hopefully it's good enough.
Lunch is a good word. Pat, what do you got on today?
Oh, well, NBA playoffs starting. I know he's not there, but, the Thomas Bryant, Washington Wizards. I almost said
there you go.
It's a throwback jersey, but, I love this. First of all, the jersey's great, and anytime you can rep a guy from Rochester, you got to do it, right?
It's a Bullets jersey?
It's the Washington Wizards Bullet-style current jersey. But, yeah, don't make me feel bad. I wanted the Bullets version. They don't make them.
Hey, let's talk playoffs, Carl. NBA has begun. They had the miniseries, the whole thing. What's your feeling going into this? It's an odd setup with the Lakers, sitting in the 7th spot, and everyone trying to maneuver around, and the Clippers ducking them and all the rest of that. What do you think about all this?
Well, I was very skeptical about this play-in tournament or first four, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that the matchups, the Celtics were in it. So you get eyeballs on that game just because of the Celtics. And then you've got Steph Curry against LeBron and AD out west. So you get eyeballs on that. So the NBA got what they wanted. They've got matchups that are going to draw eyeballs. And let's face it, that's all this is about, is more opportunity to sell television. The game's not all that compelling, but at the same time, it's more basketball. It leads into maybe getting people primed for the playoffs. Look, the NBA playoffs are good, and I know you're going to go to this Stanley Cup, they're not great like the Stanley Cup playoffs are.
So you got the Celtics winning their miniseries and going up against Brooklyn, which I think is the most interesting story out there. How do you see the Nets?
If they're healthy, formidable. And they haven't been healthy. And I should add something to that. If they're healthy and engaged, and Kyrie Irving, who knows where his head's going to be this time of year. But those three guys, Harden, Durant, and Kyrie, are three of the 10 best players in the league. If they're right, that's a tough matchup for the Celtics. You look at what Tatum's done. I saw a stat last night. He got 50. It was the third time in his career he had 50 for the Celtics. The all-time leader in 50-point games for the Celtics was Larry Bird with 4. So that's a pretty amazing stat for a young kid like Jason Tatum.
All right, Pat, hockey time now. Stanley Cups, everybody, it's a great show. I go back, I think it was 2 years, and Tampa Bay broke the regular season record for points in a season and gets swept in the first round by Columbus, I think it was. Is that a good thing?
It's a good thing for the sport. I think it is. Look, it works because it was Tampa Bay, right? And although Tampa Bay is a very popular team now, traditionally the teams from Florida don't do well. If that was an original 6 team in a major market, it would have been a disaster sweeping out the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Montreal Canadiens or the New York Rangers, something like that. But, when it comes to deep hockey fans, as long as it's not your team, you love that stuff and you anticipate that kind of stuff because when it comes to unpredictability, nothing is better than the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is crazy because it's not a one and done. Like, this isn't March Madness where a fluke thing can happen. Like, this happens over 7 games, yet you see stuff like that all the time. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the perfect example of it. The last couple of years, they've been a dominant regular season team, high-end talent, some of the best players in the league, and they cannot get themselves out of the first round. This year, now they see Montreal for the first time in the playoffs in 47 years. And me being a Leafs hater, I'm going to watch every second of that playoff series, hoping to God I get to see, videos of Toronto fans saying, what happened again?
Yeah, but why is it like this? If you look back, the Islanders, the Oilers had a run, the Canadiens used to dominate. We used to have some reliability when it came to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's totally gone.
There has been a little bit of reliability in the last 20 years, right? The Pens won 3 cups in a couple of years. The Capitals have been really good, just finally get over the hump. The Tampa Bay Lightning, again, they've been a good team. They got a cup out of it. I don't know. I think it has to do with, if you're comparing it to other playoffs, right? Like in the NBA, you've got 7 folks you're going to lean on rotation-wise, heavy minutes, right? But 5 are going to play mostly. The NFL, you know exactly who's going to be out there all the time. When it comes to the NHL, you can win regular season games with your superstars. You can play them the minutes you need to do it. But that depth, no more important because you need legitimate 3 lines of hockey players, 3 lines of defensemen, or else you're going to see what happened with the Lightning a couple years ago.
You got a winner for us? Stanley Cup?
I mean, it's tough. Look, I think the Capitals, I really think the winner of the Capitals-Bruins series is going to win the Stanley Cup. Just the way that the two are playing each other right now. And look, they're both veteran teams with legitimate talent and superstars that could carry them over the top.
Carl, NBA, you got a winner for me?
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot here because nobody's talking about it. The Phoenix Suns, they are really good. Really, really good. What Chris Paul has settled down, Devin Booker's become one of the great scorers in the league. DeAndre Ayton's a force in the middle, and they've got young athletes who can shoot it around them. I really think they're going to be a tough out as this goes through.
Couple of wild picks. This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Time to talk a little Buffalo Bills. Pat, our first crack at the schedule. Anything stand out to you or that's going to make a difference?
Huge benefit for the Bills this season. They are not playing anyone as of now that's coming off a bye next season. So nobody is going to have extra rest against the Bills, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Not to mention the fact that, look, I know 4 primetime games. Bills fans were disappointed. There weren't more. Look, man, I am happy not playing in primetime with now the pressure that's on this team. Because as we walk into this season, look, I know last season was awesome. The run was phenomenal. It wasn't expected the way things went for the Bills to do what they did last season, making it all the way to the AFC Championship game. I know this team is coming back pretty whole the way it was last year, but expectations with the bright lights on compared to sneaking up on someone with the bright lights on, very different things. I want the Bills to be able to get their feet under them and just play football without having to worry about being the darlings of the NFL, which it seems they're kind of becoming.
Yeah, Carl, it's kind of like you have these things laid out in front of you. Last year, the schedule was supposed to be impossible. You're playing both the Western divisions of the 2 conferences. I think people would have taken a 10-6 season that they turned into 13-3. Is this just a fool's game when you look at the schedule and try to predict a record off it?
Yeah, absolutely, because injuries are the biggest part of the NFL and how things happen. Look, the Bills got off to a great start last year, and because of that kind of rolled through. There's so much, it's much more of not who you play, but when you play them. And the schedule tells you when you play them, but that's not really the story. It's how that team is playing when you play them. How healthy is that team when you play them? How rested, to Pat's point, is that team when you play them? The one thing I think that's very beneficial to the Bills is the last quarter of the season. 3 of the last 4 games are at home. There are also 3 very winnable games as we look at it today, with Carolina, the Falcons, and the Jets being 3 of the last 4, and 2 of those very late in the season, December, January, with the weather, and hopefully a team like Atlanta or the Jets already kind of packed up and gone home for the year. Those could be easy wins.
Pat, they make the schedule a little bit tougher with a 17th game because they stagger that. It's a weighted game. The Bills have to play a division champion, and the other teams don't. That makes things a little bit tougher.
Oh, it would for any other division, except we drew the NFC, so we get the Washington football team. Like, you got the most easy, if that's even a thing that makes sense right now, division winner in all of the National Football League. Look, I mean, between the no-buys, and Carl's right about the 3 out of the last 4 at home, man, adding the Washington football team to that, I really hope that I'm not seeing fool's gold and getting overexcited, but, I mean, this feels like something here. It feels like something.
That football team, their defense is really good. It's a young defense, ton of kids from Alabama, and bringing Chase Young in last year kind of pushed them over the hump. Offensively, with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't have much to say about the Redskins offense. I'm sorry, the Washington football team offense. But defensively, that's going to be a tough matchup for the Bills.
They're still tougher than the other three teams in that division. So, I mean, it's a little bit of an edge to be playing the other three.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're still tougher than the other three teams in the division. I'm tougher than a bunch of 12-year-olds walking out. Okay, sorry.
Are you, though? Are you, though?
8-year-olds, I'll take the 8-year-olds. I'm tougher than them.
We are the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falkin Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Kanguli Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. This portion of the Press Box, like it or not, brought to you by Kanguli Brothers Law Firm. Experience with years of defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Kanguli Law today. Carl, let me ask you about, like it or not, the baseball's unwritten rules surfaced again when Mercedes of the White Sox took Astudillo of the Twins deep. Astudillo, position player, pitching, throws him a 47-mile-an-hour pitch in a 3-0 count with an 11-run deficit. It's a home run, and all hell breaks loose.
This is one of those things that I'm so tired of the unwritten rules of baseball. Look, Mercedes takes a 47-mile-an-hour pitch out, hits it 400 feet. That's hard to do. That's physics-wise, that's hard to do. I don't care if it's 3-0. I don't care that there's a position player playing it. At the end of the year, when you look at the back of the baseball card, which, oh, by the way, Mercedes' next contract will be judged on, it's going to say the number of home runs. And there's not going to be an asterisk there for hitting one off a position player. It's for Tony LaRussa, the White Sox manager, to call out his own player the way he did publicly. Oh, yeah, by the way, Tony, call an Uber next time you're hammered. That would be a better decision. And for him to call out Mercedes, say he's fine with what the Twins did by throwing behind him, this guy has lost touch so long ago. I can't believe the White Sox brought him back in the first place. These unwritten rules have got to go. Let the guys play. Who gives a crap what they do? Have fun. Baseball is a game. It should be fun. That was fun to see. I thought it was fun to see Astudillo pitching and throwing 47 miles an hour.
Well, the thing is, the thing that I see too, I mean, if the Twins are going to expose Astudillo that way and use a position player on the mound, you're asking for trouble, right? I mean, who's embarrassing who when you put that guy out there? It seems to me, right. I know Pat thinks, oh, yeah, big defender, unwritten rules, all the rest, but it seems to me that the Twins are embarrassing themselves and they got what they deserved here.
Yeah, and I have again, what are you supposed to do? Lay down?
Pat, like it or not, Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions comes out this week and suggests maybe that the team needs a real lion.
Okay, can we talk about Dan Campbell for a second? Because wouldn't every head coach starting a new job have learned from what Rex Ryan did when he came to Buffalo? Because, I get the bluster, fine. You want eyes on you, it's all fun. First of all, this guy's got no track record. Second, he comes in talking about biting kneecaps. He tells a 50-page Mad Libs about all the assaulting things he's going to do to other teams with his teeth and fists and everything, and now he wants to bring a real lion in. Look, if the Lions had any chance at contending in any way this season, I'd say, all right, this is great. Now you got eyes on your team. But you don't. You're worse than you were last year. You're worse than you've been the last couple of years. So you're going to get a bunch of eyes on your team as a rookie head coach. And it's going to be a disaster. And every single person is going to reference back to all of the insane stuff you said before you ever coached an NFL game. So I ask again, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
I am glad you brought up Rex Ryan, because I felt the same thing when the Bills hired him. It's not enough to be able to say outrageous things and just say them louder than everybody else. You're really putting a target on your back.
Well, look, as a guy who makes a living just saying outrageous things louder than anybody else, I can tell you where you're going to fall apart here. Like, you have a legitimate job you have to do. Go do that and then be a crazy person. That's cool. Do that first, though. Just don't be crazy first.
Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business. And as always, Pat, start us off.
So I had said a couple of weeks ago, in fact, I mean, you probably got tape of it, of how I just wanted this Sabres season to end, get it over with. It's been a nightmare. I don't want any more of it. Well, now that it's over, bring it back, please. Because all I'm hearing and reading are stories about how Jack Eichel isn't going to be a member of the Buffalo Sabres anymore, and places he's going to go, and stuff we're going to get back, and how Sam Reinhart doesn't want to be here either, and how the core of this team, although they've been bad, is about to leave, and we're going to embark on a whole new journey with nothing guaranteed moving forward. I'm sorry. I overreacted. It's a lot easier to watch really, really bad hockey that led into exciting, potentially fun down the road hockey than it is to deal with the reality of what the Sabres could be over the next season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. And I got to be honest with you, man. I'm also having a hard time watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, I'm watching them because what hockey fan doesn't, but it's not so much a fear of missing out. It's not so much sadness that these teams are playing better. It's just that next year, these fans know who's going to be on their team and know that they're going to be contenders and know that something exciting is coming. Whereas a Sabres fan, I sit here again for another year and wonder, what the hell am I going to turn on when hockey season starts next season?
We're at the point of the NFL season where mini camps are going on, and not long we'll have training camp, and it might look more like training camp of 2019 versus training camp of 2020. But one thing's sure to happen. Somebody's going to hold out. Somebody's going to demand a new contract. And when that happens, you'll hear the fans of that team say, that guy's selfish. That guy is a cancer. You got to get rid of that guy. You can't pay that guy. And then I'm going to remind that fan of Juwan James. If you don't know who Juwan James is, he's an offensive tackle for the Denver Broncos, or at least he was. He was working out on his own away from the facility in preparation for the upcoming season. He also tore an Achilles tendon during that workout. But because it was off campus, it wasn't at the Broncos site, the NFL deems it a non-football injury. And they reminded their teams in a memo to their teams that you have no contractual obligation to any player who injures himself away from the facility. So what the Broncos do? They cut James. He had signed a $51 million contract in 2019. Now he's out with an Achilles tendon that needs surgery. Next time you think a player's selfish, remember Juwan James, because they are taking care of themselves, because nobody else cares.
There's never a bad time to resurrect a good idea, no matter how far-fetched. The NBA and the Stanley Cup playoffs have begun. The Utah Jazz, Phoenix Suns, and the Denver Nuggets are the top 3 teams in the stacked NBA West Conference. But no one's picking any of these teams to win the title. Shouldn't winning the most over a 71-game regular season as it was this year count for more than just home court and a potential Game 7 of a playoff series? Well, of course it should. Logic further reinforced by the fact that the Los Angeles Clippers were losing games on purpose to bad teams to try to gain an edge in the draw. Meanwhile, the Stanley Cup playoffs continue to be a complete crapshoot. Only 8 times in the last 33 years has the President's Cup winner, given that the team with the best regular season record, won the Stanley Cup. Like basketball, hockey's regular season just doesn't count for enough. Since there's never a bad time to resurrect a good idea, Pat, no matter how far-fetched, increase the value of the home court, ice and field, best of 7 series. The better team gets 5 home games out of the 7. Make it a 2-2-3, and you're welcome. That's Unfinished Business, and that is our program, gentlemen. Thank you very much. It's a great idea. Come on.
Like you have had so many bad ideas, and this is by far your worst idea, which we've gone over multiple times.
It's not the worst.
And you just won't let it. Like, you've let other bad ideas go. Just let this bad idea go. It's a bad idea.
If that's not the worst, I don't want to hear the worst.
All right. Have a good week, gentlemen. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.